Good morning everyone. Welcome to the video tutorial of class 6 science. So students, in our previous video lecture we have discussed chapter number 8 of class 6 science, that is body movement, in which we have covered few topics like the difference between the movement of and locomotion, rib cage, skull. Now here in this video we will revise the rest of the topics of this chapter. Okay. So our next topic is the shoulder bone. And the human body has two shoulders. As you all know that we have left and right side of the neck, we have a shoulder, our left shoulder and right shoulder. And the shoulder bone is formed by the collarbone, which is also known as the clavicle, and the shoulder blade, which is also known as the scapula. Okay, so you can see in this diagram also, this is the clavicle bone or the collarbone, and this part is known as the scapula. Okay, so we have two shoulders, and the shoulder bones is formed by the collarbone and the shoulder blade. Shoulder blade is also known as scapula, and the collarbone is also known as clavicle. Collarbone is a curved bone, right? You can see in this diagram also, this is a curved bone. And the shoulder blade is the upper arm bone, is joined to the shoulder blade by a ball and socket joint. We have also done this in our last video, that what is a ball and socket joint and where it is present. So you all know that that the ball and the socket joint is present in the shoulder, right, and in the hips also. So this is about the shoulder bone. Now let's move forward. Now the next topic is the pelvic bone. Bowl shaped structure at the lower end of the spine to which our legs are attached. These are this red part is known as the pelvic bone. So pelvic bone encloses the portion of our body below the stomach. This part is below the stomach, and this is the part we sit on. So pelvic bone is the part we sit on, and it connects to the spine to the leg bone at the hip joint. So it connects the spine to the leg bone. And the main function of the pelvic bone is it gives protection to the bladder, to both the large and the small intestine. As you all know that we have two intestines, one is large and one is small. And it also provides protection to the male and the female reproductive organs. So this is the pelvic bone provide the protection to the bladder, to both the intestine and the male and the female reproductive organs also, right? So now you have understood that what is the pelvic bone. Let's move on. Now the next topic is the cartilage. We have already done this in the first part of this video. Okay, so what is the cartilage? Cartilage are the smooth tissues or the rubby tissues which act like a soft cushion so that the bones do not rub against each other. It protects our bones, and they are basically the part of the skeleton that are not as hard as the bones and which can be bent also. So if you try to touch the upper part of your ear, this part, and if you try to touch the lower part of your this part, so you can see that there is a difference between the two parts. The lower part of ear is not so hard, it is mostly very soft, and the upper part is hard, is comparatively hard, but it is not as hard as the bones. Okay, so the part which is not as hard as the bones are known as the cartilage. They are the smooth tissues. Okay, so where is the cartilage present? You can see the cartilage on the part of the ear, right? So this cartilage is present in the ear, nose, joints, between the vertebrae of the backbone. Okay. And this cartilage acts as a protective layer so that the bones do not rub against each other and damage themselves due to the friction between their surfaces. Okay. Now let's move forward. Now the next part is the muscles. So muscles are the soft tissues which have the ability to contract, and they are attached to the bones by the tendons. So what are tendons? So as we all know that bones alone cannot move by themselves. The bones that are attached to the muscles help to bring out about all the movements of the body, and the muscles which are attached to the bones by the strong muscles by the strong fibers are known as the tendons. So tendons are the muscles which are attached to the bones by the strong fibers. Okay, and there are about 650 muscles in our body, and each one causes a particular movement. And the muscles help us to smile, to chew our food, push food into the stomach, and also make our heartbeat also. And there are so many other functions of muscles also, right? So now we all know that the muscle moves bones. When one of them contracts, the bone is pulled in that direction. The other muscles of the pair relaxes. You can see in this diagram also, these are the muscles. And when one of them contracts, so the bone is pulled in that direction and the other pair of muscles relax. So to move the bone in the opposite direction, the relaxed muscles contract to pull the bone towards its original position when the first relaxes. A muscle can only pull, it cannot push. So the function of the muscle is to pull, it cannot push, right? So now we know that the muscles move bones. And we call this system as the muscular system. The system of the muscles is known as the muscular system. Okay. So we have discussed about the human skeleton, we have discussed about the skeletal system, the muscular system. Okay, we have discussed about the rib cage, the skull, the bones, the joints. Now let's move forward. Now the next topic is the how animals move, or what is the gait of the animals. Okay, so now let's discuss about some animals. There are different ways by which animals move from one place to another. So what is the meaning of gait? The meaning of gait is a particular way of walking. What is the meaning of gait? The meaning of gait is the particular way of walking. Okay. So as you all know that different animals move in different ways. They have different way of walking. Okay, like cow, buffalo, dogs, cats, they walk and run. Snakes slithers, birds fly, insects walk, fly or crawl, and the fish swim. So there are the different ways by the animals move. Now let's discuss them one by one. So we will discuss about the different animals like earthworm, snail, fish, cockroaches, snakes and birds. So first of all we will discuss about the earthworm. Okay. So we can see an earthworm crawling on the ground during the rainy season. Do you know why? Because they come out of their underground burrows or homes because they are filled up with rainwater. So during the rainy season, their burrows or their homes filled up with rainwater. That is why they crawl on the ground during the rainy season. An earthworm has a long cylindrical body which is made up of many rings or many segments joined end to end. So the body of an earthworm is made up of many rings joined end to end, and an earthworm does not have bones. They only have muscles which help to extend and shorten the body. So the earthworm do not have any bones. They doesn't have any bone. They only have the muscles, and these muscles help them to extend and shorten their body. So during the movement, the earthworm first extends the front part of the body, keeping the rear position fixed to the ground. Then it fixes the front and releases the rear end. It then shortens the body and pulls the rear end forward. This makes it move forward by small distance. So earthworm moves through repeated muscles expansion and contraction. And the body of the earthworm also secretes a slimy substance to help the movement. So the body of the earthworm secretes a slimy substance which also helps them in movement. And the earthworm has a liquid skeleton. So on the undersurface of the body, a number of minute bristles are also present that help the earthworm to get a good grip on the ground. And muscles attached to these bristles help them to contract the body. Okay, so let's see the diagram. So you can see in this diagram also, these earthworm has the bristles on their body. They have a long cylindrical body which is made up of many ring substance. These are the rings or the bristles. Okay, they have a liquid skeleton, and their muscles help them to contract and extend their body. Okay, so their muscles help in the contraction and expansion of the body. And under the body of an earthworm, it has a large number of tiny bristles or the hair-like structures projecting out. The bristles of the earthworm are connected with the muscles because they do not have bones, so their bristles are connected with the muscles, and the bristles help them to get a good grip. The earthworm eats its way through the soil. Its body then throws away the undigested part of the material that it eats. This improves the soil quality. That is why the earthworms are also known as the farmer's friend, because they improve the soil quality. Okay, that is why they are known as the farmer's friend. Okay, now let's see the movement of an earthworm. So you can see in this diagram also here how the earthworm moves by using their muscles or by using their bristles. These are the bristles. They do not have any bone, and their muscles help in the contraction and expansion of their body. Okay, so you can see here how the movement of an earthworm. Now I hope you have understood the movement of an earthworm. So our next topic is movement of snail. Snail is a very slow moving animal. It moves very slowly. Snail carries shell or rounded structure on its back, which is known as the shell of snail. So you can see here also, this is known as the shell of the snail, and a snail always carry this shell on its back. It is the outer skeleton of the snail but is not made up of bones. So this shell is the outer skeleton of the snail, but this shell is not made of bones, and the shell is a single unit and does not help in moving from one place to another. It has to be dragged along. So this shell does not help in moving from one place to another. It has to be dragged along, and the snail has only one foot. The snail has only one foot. This is the foot of the snail, and the foot of the snail is large, flat and disc shaped, made of strong muscles. So you can see here, this is the foot of snail, and this foot is large, flat, and it is a disc shape which is made up of strong muscles. It is not made up of bones, it is made up of strong muscles. And snail moves with the help of this foot. So this foot helps in the movement, but this outer skeleton or the shell does not help in movement from one place to another. Okay, now we will see how the snail moves. So this is the foot of the snail. This part is known as the shell or the outer skeleton. Okay, so the snail has a single foot, and this foot helps in the movement, but this outer skeleton does not help in movement, or this shell does not help in movement from one place to another. So this is how the snail moves from one place to another, by using their foot or single foot. So this is the movement of snail. Now let's move forward. So the next is the movement of cockroaches. Cockroaches can walk, climb, as well as fly in the air. The body is covered with a hard outer skeleton which is made of different units joined together and permits movement. So the cockroach can fly, it can climb, or it can walk also. And the body is covered with a hard outer skeleton. This is the hard outer skeleton which is made up of different units joined together, and this outer skeleton permits movement. Okay, they have 3 pair of legs, as you can see here also. These are the 3 pair of legs. A cockroach has a 3 pair of legs, and these legs help in walking. There are 2 pair of wings attached to the breast. So the cockroach has the 2 pair of wings, and the cockroaches have distinct muscles. They have distinct muscles and 2 pair of wings. They can fly only short distances, and cockroach walk in a very interesting manner, moving 3 legs at a time. Okay, and when a cockroach walks, its 3 legs support the body, while the other 3 move the body forward, and the movement is repeated. However, this time the 3 legs that previously supported the body now move the body forward, whereas the 3 legs that previously moved the body now supports the body. Okay, in this manner the cockroach is able to walk. So a cockroach skeleton is outside its body, which is also known as exoskeleton. This is skeleton. This is known as exoskeleton, and they have the 3 pair of joined legs. These are the 3 pair of joined legs. Okay, and strong muscles to pull these legs, which help them to walk or run. Okay. So this is about the movement of cockroaches. Now let's move forward. So this is the movement of cockroaches. Okay, they have the 3 pair of legs, and these legs help in the movement, enable them to walk or run. They have tiny claws that help them climb walls. These are the tiny claws. Okay, they have 2 pair of wings. They can fly only short distances. So this is the movement of cockroach. Now the next is the movement of birds. Birds fly in the air and walk on the ground. As you all know that they can fly in the air and they can walk on the ground. Okay, and some birds like ducks and swans also swim in water. So some birds, which are also known as the aquatic birds, can swim in water. The birds can fly because their body are well suited for flying. Their bones are hollow and light. So these hollow and light bones help them in flying, because their body are very light and the bones are hollow, so these hollow bones support them in flying. So because of the light weight, the birds can easily fly in the air. Hind limbs are used for walking and perching, so the birds use their hind limbs for walking and for perching. Forelimbs are modified into wings. The shoulder bones are strong. Okay, so the birds have the shoulder bones or the strong shoulder bones. The breast bones are modified to hold muscles to flight, which are used to move the wings up and down. Birds fly by constant flapping of their wings. So now let's see the movement of birds, or let's see how the birds fly. So the bird flies by constant flapping of their wings. So these are the hind limbs, and the forelimbs are modified as wings. Okay, so these hind limbs and forelimbs help them in flying. And they use their hind limbs for walking and perching. So this is about the movement of birds. Now let's move forward. Now the next is the movement of snake. Snakes have a long backbone. They have many thin muscles, and they are connected to each other even though they are far from one another. So the snakes have a long backbone. They have many thin muscles, and these muscles are connected to each other. They also interconnect the backbone, ribs, and the skin. So the backbone, skin, and ribs of the snake are also interconnected. The snake's body curves into many loops. So the snake moves by forming different kinds of loops like this. Each loop of the snake gives it a forward push by pressing against the ground. Since its long body makes many loops and each loop gives it this push, the snake moves forward very fast and not in a straight line. So the snake moves very fast, but the snake does not move in a straight line. So snakes never move in a straight line. They always move by forming these kinds of loops, and these loops help them in forward push. They gives it a forward push by pressing against the ground. So now we will see the movement of snake. So here you can see the movement of snake, and you can see that the snake never moves in a straight line. They always move by forming different types of loops. Okay, and these loops gives them a forward push. So the snake never moves in a straight line. Now next is the movement of fish. Next is the movement of fish. Body shape of fish is streamlined. The head and tail of the fish are smaller than the middle portion of the body. So you can see here also this forward and the backward part of the fish are smaller than the middle portion. Okay, and this shape is also known as the streamlined shape, in which the head and the tail of the fish are smaller than the middle portion. Okay, and the body tapers at both ends. This shape allows the fish to move in water easily. So the streamlined shape of the fish help them to move in water easily. The skeleton of the fish is covered with strong muscles. During swimming, the muscles make the front part of the body curve to one side, and the tail part swings towards the opposite side, and the fish always forms a curve. Then quickly the body and the tail curve to the other side. This makes a jerk and pushes the body forward. What I am trying to say is, firstly, the first part of the body make a curve to one side like this. Okay. Then quickly the front part will curve to the other side and the tail part also curve to the other side like this. So this makes a jerk and pushes the body move forward, and a series of such jerks make the fish swim ahead. As you can see here also, firstly the front part curves to one side and the tail part curves to the other side, whereas and suddenly the front part curve to this direction and the tail part curves to this direction. So this make a jerk and help in pushing the fish forward. Okay, so this is the movement of fish. So this is how the fish moves. Now let's see the movement of fish. So this is the movement of fish. You can see here also the fish moves the front part in one direction and the tail part in other direction. This is how the fish moves. So this is known as the movement of fishes, and the fish has the front and the tail part is smaller than the middle portion. This middle portion is bigger than the tail and the front part. Okay, so we have done the movement of earthworm, movement of snail, movement of fish, movement of birds, movement of cockroach also. So with this we have reached to the end of this chapter. So thank you and see you in the next video.